When you don't protect your energy, you become more vulnerable to absorbing the energies of everyone else around you, which can then put your energy at risk of absorbing negativity. And negative energy can take such a toll on your body and on your life, leading to higher stress levels and emotional fatigue. And why does this matter? Because your energy is your currency in life. Before you even open your mouth, your energy is already speaking volumes about you. And when you walk into a room, it introduces you before you can even verbally try to. And so because of that, in this episode, I'm going to be sharing all of the things that you guys can do practically to actually protect your energy, to be able to identify energy blockers so you know exactly what to avoid, as well as what to implement. I am not going to be wasting time talking about how important energy is. We're going to get right into the practical steps on how you actually protect and reserve positive energy, which will then serve your life in the best way possible. Before we get into it, welcome back, my self-obsessed girlies. If you're new here, be sure to check out all of the links below in the description where you can check out the Self-Obsessed Podcast Instagram. That is where we post quotes all the time. We post bite-sized pieces of information to keep you accountable and reminded on your self-development journey. Be sure to check out all of my other social links. I have 2 other YouTube channels where I give exclusive advice. I have my self-love book, which just came out. It's called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers. So I'd love for you guys to check it out. But without further ado, let's get straight into it in self-obsessed fashion. Chapter 1, how to actually protect your energy. And step number 1 to this is to start observing how other people and your surroundings makes you feel. And I've put this as the first step because I myself used to have this really bad habit, and so many of us do, it's so natural, that when you feel a little bit more reserved or uncomfortable or shy, or like you don't know if you like someone yet, or you don't know if you feel safe to be your authentic self around them, you kind of just squish that feeling, that gut feeling. And you just think, well, I need to get to know them. They haven't done anything to me, so I have no reason to judge or feel this way. No. Sometimes, scratch that. A lot of the time, your body, your soul, your mind, your heart knows before you do. There is a reason you don't feel safe to open up, to be perceived, to speak in your authentic way around certain people. And it is because of the energy that you are sensing and absorbing from them. The worst thing I ever did was put strangers as a priority over my own needs and my own comfort and my own feelings. Because honey, you have been with yourself your entire life and you have just randomly met this person and they make you feel uncomfortable and scared and like you can't be yourself. And so you are going to continue to expose yourself to that energy that you do not like, therefore putting them above yourself. Literally prioritizing a stranger's needs or not wanting them to dislike you over your own needs, over your own happiness and own peace of mind. Yeah, we don't do that around here. I used to make the mistake of thinking I don't have enough evidence to support these feelings. Scratch that. Your gut instinct is always enough evidence. And I think that is such a great way to protect your energy. I can't tell you the amount of times when I met somebody new and I got so much great vibes from them. I thought this person is so nice. I feel aligned to them. I feel like we were meant to meet. And then guess what? They ended up being great people in my life. And I'm sure you guys can relate, which just goes to show our energies know a lot of the times before we gain all of the evidence and facts in our mind to draw conclusions about that person. And so honestly, just pay a little bit more attention to it than you usually do. That's all I'm saying. This links into step number 2 on protecting your energy, which is to observe, not absorb. A lot of the time, we are not even fully consciously aware of where we are giving our energy and what energy we are absorbing back. A lot of the times we're like, am I acting right? Am I speaking right? What is this person thinking about me? Is my outfit okay? Did I do my morning routine? Did I check if the pets were fed? Our priorities are everywhere. So this is where we need to start being more consciously aware of where our energy is going. Because if you don't, you're going to absorb all of these outside energies and this jealousy and this negativity from everybody else. You're just going to pick it off you and then you're going to come home and you're going to wonder why you're feeling drained. And this is why we need to replace absorption with observation. And what this allows you to do is actually control your energy output and input rather than just letting things happen to you. And this is true for environments where everything is full of chaos. Maybe you're from a toxic family environment. Maybe the friends around you are really obsessed with drama and gossip and it's just not serving you and draining you. Yet you can actually still control your own peace of mind and positive energy even while being in a chaotic or unaligned environment. And this is how. You're going to imagine this orb of light just floating around you and imagine it as a shield of protection from any discomfort or physical pain that may be thrust upon you when being in new situations or around questionable people. And also what this white light does is it filters out what is allowed to come in, basically only bringing in positive energy and things that serve you and just blocking out and rejecting anything that won't. Before looking into this online, I actually first learned this visualization protection method when speaking to one of my friends who said that before meeting me, she went to go meet somebody new who she really looked up to, and this person was really negative, and any question she was asking or anything positive that she said to this person that she looked up to so much just came back with like so much negativity and so much hurt and anger. And I asked her, I was like, after having such a sad conversation like that, how are you not drained right now? And she was like, oh, because a long time ago, any single time I am on my way to meet a new person, I just imagine this golden light around me where no matter what they say, no matter how they act, no matter how they treat me or talk to me, doesn't matter, cannot get to me, because my energy is so sacred and so protected. I get to control how I feel and what energies I have. And I was like, I have never heard of this, but when I looked into it, it's an actual thing, and it will make sure that if you are meeting with somebody who constantly emotionally dumps on you, vents to you, doesn't treat you right, it cannot actually influence how you feel. Step number 3 is that introspection is important, because one thing I see all the time on social media is how to block out toxic people and how to prevent their negative energies coming onto you. And I know we spoke about that a little bit so far, but with that, we absolutely have to mention the fact that we need to look inwards too. Because even while visualizing our protective shields and distancing ourselves from certain people to make sure that we don't absorb their negative energy, we can still create negative energy in ourselves, and we need to be accountable for that. So a really good example of this, and just staying aware of your energy and taking accountability, is if you have seen somebody, maybe it's someone in the media, online, and that you instantly don't like them. You've never met them, you've never come across them, but you're just like, I don't like that person and they really annoy me. Instead of just writing that off as truth, which it might be, maybe you have a reason not to like or align with that person, you have to do yourself the favor first of thinking, what could this be reflecting about me that is causing me to have this negative outburst or reaction? We see things that hurt us or annoy us is actually because it's triggering something inside of us that we have rejected or deemed as not okay, which is why it annoys us when we see the presence of that thing in anybody else. For example, maybe you see someone online dressing in a certain way and you're like, oh my God, that's so cringy and I hate that. But you have to take a step back and think, have I told myself that it's not okay to dress like that or act like that? Because I was taught growing up that I would not be loved or accepted if I freely acted and dressed like that. And so now I need to give acceptance to myself to be able to give acceptance to that other person. Otherwise, that negative energy will always pour out of me, will always be uncontrolled and be projected onto everybody else. But most importantly, be consuming me and my happiness and my vibration, which will then affect my life and my mood and my mental health. So really, a crucial aspect of protecting your energy is also trying to give people the benefit of the doubt and assuming positive intent. Now, link back to step number 1. This does not mean overriding your gut instinct or forcing yourself into situations where you don't feel safe or comfortable, but it's about acknowledging that without vilifying people, without saying they're really bad or they're really evil, because you actually don't have evidence for that. And you are allowed to distance yourself from people if they are not your cup of tea, but you are not allowed to make them the bad guy and to talk down on them, because that is just spewing out negative energy and pouring more of it into your own life. We have to assume positive intent by saying, maybe that person's not for me, I don't really want to hang around with them, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're having a bad day. I always do that. If somebody is rude to me or if somebody's not very nice, I'm like, they're just going through that thing. It's okay. Because why am I voluntarily sitting through negative energy and sadness or envy or grief for any longer than I want to be, which is never. And you have to remember that a lot of the time your experience with another person is simply a result of how you are choosing to experience and perceive that person. If you are telling yourself they are bad, they are jealous of me, they are this, they are that, that's all they'll ever be. And that's all you will ever experience in your life, and then therefore be stuck in that energy. Step number 4 to actually protecting your energy is to avoid one-sided relationships. Healthy relationships are reciprocal. They're not always 50-50, but they are about having each other's backs based on each other's capacity that day or in that phase of their lives. And if you are constantly in a state where maybe you're in a situationship and maybe you like someone and they're not treating you right, but you're always showing up for them and doing romantic things and texting them first and all of that, you are draining your own energy because you are giving up so much light and so much positivity and effort and time to this person, and they are not fulfilling you and filling you up back. And so you are constantly drained and you are constantly at a lack as a result of it. And so a really important way to protect your energy is to make sure that the people you pour into are also pouring right back into you. Because think about it, if you are in a bit of a one-sided relationship or friendship, that's when you start to have all of these thoughts about relationship doubts. You're like, do they even like me? Or am I even worthy of this friendship? Or why do people keep treating me like this? Hello, negative thought pattern once again. And now we're feeling bad about ourselves, and now our self-esteem is affected. And it's just an endless cycle of negativity, because not only are you being treated bad, but now you're thinking bad about yourself. And healthy reciprocal relationships avoid all of that and just help harbor more positive energy in our lives. And remember, where you place your energy and actions is what the universe will continue to give to you. So even if you are not happy in a one-sided relationship, but you continue to accept that treatment by staying in that place or not actually fulfilling the action of leaving because you want something else, you will continuously receive that same type of treatment, that same type of energy that aligns to where you are staying and what you are accepting, and most importantly, what you are giving your time and your energy to, which is a one-sided person. And the final step for the Protect Your Energy chapter is to build your sanctuary. This is basically a place where when you go in there, you just immediately feel calm. You know that you can recharge and relax, and it allows you to escape from all of the chaos of the outside world. So, for example, it's very unlikely that this place for you is going to be your work environment. There are so many stressors and so many stimuli and just uncontrollable factors in that environment which can actually take from your energy. The same goes for their family home or like a busy city environment, but your bedroom where you get to relax and just take away, or maybe your local park where you always sit on the bench and it's super quiet and super safe and peaceful. And that's a really good example of a place where you can relax, recharge, and reconnect with yourself without the noise of anything else affecting your energy or trying to take from you. And while each of these spaces can really help restore your energy, what you do in each of these spaces can even take you a step further in creating the energy that you want to have. So for example, you could literally just stay in your bedroom, but then practice some meditation, literally just for a few minutes to control your energetic flow and make it a more positive one. This is actually because when you meditate, it activates certain parts of the brain, which helps you stress less and actually gain more energy. And this leads us onto chapter number 2, energy blockers that you need to avoid. Now we have the complete guide of what we need to bring into our lives to be our best positive energy selves. And now we need to understand all of the little things that can actually be taken from us that we might not even know about. The first energy blocker goes without saying, and this is limiting beliefs, aka the beliefs that we have about society, about our family, about ourselves, the people around us, how the world works, where our future is going to go, who we are on the inside, what our capabilities are, and so on. A lot of the times these limiting beliefs can be rooted in past experiences like your traumas or self-doubt or societal conditioning. And the reason we need to let go of limiting beliefs is that the longer that we decide to entertain these and believe in these and pour our belief into them and our energy and our time and ourselves into validating them and living by them, the more we start to create boundaries in our lives of what is possible versus what isn't, which then blocks our energy. Because we are restricting our potential and we're restricting what we are capable of and what is allowed versus what isn't. We're like setting all of these rules on ourselves when really we should be free to be able to express ourselves or do whatever we want. We need to be able to break free from all of these rules and all of these expectations everybody else puts onto us. And the more freedom we feel, the more freely our energy can flow. The second energy blocker is avoidance and fear. We already know that fear is the lowest vibrational state that you can stay in. And when we fear something, it tends to lead us to a pattern of avoiding. Because we're scared of it, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, it's unpredictable. And so we're like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to step away from that. But avoidance brings on negative energy and blocks that energy from flowing freely so that we can be and do whatever we like, because we're not actually resolving the issue. We're not actually moving past the problem. We're simply delaying the inevitable. So whatever you are avoiding because of fear, you are actually stuck in that same state of fear for as long as you avoid it. Just because you've pushed it past and you don't have to do it that day or that week doesn't mean the thing is actually gone. It's just looming in the back of your head. It's still consuming your subconscious and it's still blocking your energy from flowing. Whereas, just like I talk about the portfolio of proof all of the time, if you just force yourself and feel the fear anyway, but do the thing while you feel the fear, you override the fear. That's when the emotion goes. You're moving past the avoidance, so it's not stuck there because you're just forcing yourself to do the thing anyway. And once you've done it, there's no fear left to be felt because you've done the thing. And then you prove to yourself, oh, this is one less thing to be scared about because I've shown myself I can overcome this now. And then it gives you more confidence and more positive self-esteem, which, hello, positive energy, and less stagnation and being stuck in the same place with the same ruminating feeling and blocked energy. This links into the third energy blocker, which is going with the flow. Essentially, you are the passenger princess in your own life, and no, that is not in a good way. That basically means you are not in the driver's seat. You are not taking control of anything, and you are not being disciplined. You are just letting things and life happen to you. You're always waiting for the right moment to come by, but newsflash, the right moment will never come. And so you will constantly be stuck in this cycle of wanting to do things, but never actually fulfilling the action to do them, which means all of the knowledge and all of the life experience that could come in you doing that thing is just stopped, is blocked, is right here, is literally waiting for you. And you're here because you are so focused on going with the flow that it can't come to you. It can't. When you focus on doing things when you feel like it or when the time is right and just going with the flow, you are just basically giving yourself the permission to stay in that cycle of avoidance that we just talked about by putting things off and not actually giving action to the things that you've always wanted to do. And you block your own energy by doing this because as time goes on, you become so overwhelmed by the fact that you wanted to do all of these things and they're still not done. And now all of a sudden you have this big list of things you've always wanted to achieve or directions that you want to go in and you've never done them. And this is why I have an entire other podcast episode on failures, because the more failures you have, the more clarity you have on where you need to go and what next steps you need to take. And that's when your energy can flow freely and in the direction that you're supposed to go in, because you have way more confidence about what you're supposed to do next because of the amount of experience you've had in the past. Whether it was a fail or a win is irrelevant. You need to be able to have the discipline to get things done when they need to be done. The next energy blocker is my favorite because I think so many people need to hear this one. And this one is assumed conclusions. Assuming how things are going to go based on your past or whatever you've experienced before is the fastest way to block your energy. Just because you had a few painful relationship experiences in the past does not mean it's going to happen again. It makes no sense. How today is going does not define who you're going to be in the future or what your life is going to look like, because you get to change, adapt, and evolve at any singular point in life. Plus, whatever has happened in the past or whatever is happening today is forcing you to learn lessons and make decisions based off of what you've learned from each of those experiences. And so if you keep learning from the things you're going through, why would you continue to go through the same things? Each of these things you are going through right now are influencing you on your next steps to a different phase in a different environment. For example, with the breakups example, any single time you had a painful breakup or situationship, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm never going to get into a situationship again. Or, oh, I didn't think that guy would be a red flag, but he is. Let me add this again onto my standards list. Boom. You are now redirected to another phase in your life, to another place where you are now acting differently based on, even though it was a failed situation, because of the knowledge you learned from it. Assumed conclusions harbor so much negative energy because it's just a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. You're basically creating your own bad luck because you keep insisting you have it when it's so far from the truth. And the last energy blocker for this chapter is over-identifying. Over-identifying with our thoughts, our emotions, and our experiences is such a big energy blocker that so many people overlook. When we over-identify with our struggles, we become our struggles. We internalize everything that bad experience or adversity encapsulates, and we say that's who we are, meaning that's what we're going to continue to attract and live in our life. For example, like the dating thing, I am bad at dating. I can't be in relationships. People always leave me. And then that forms who you are, and it forms a negative self-perception and then therefore negative self-esteem, which has you stuck in negative energy because you are always stuck with yourself, your self-perception 24/7. And if it's not a good one, of course, you're always going to be stuck with negative energy, and it's going to block all of the abundance and positivity you could be experiencing simply because of how you choose to look at yourself and feel about yourself. It's so important to recognize that you are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are simply an observer of them, and you get to decide which ones you kind of want to step away from and which ones you want to bring into your realm to actually feel a little bit better about yourself. Basically, you just have to simply experience your emotions, see what they're saying, how they're making you feel, and then take action to see where you want to move to get to a better state because of it, rather than internalizing them and letting it define you. And finally, chapter number 3, homework / all of the practical tips you need to know to get started on this journey to building the most free-flowing, positive energy you need to live your best life. Homework task number 1 is to create an energy blocker list. I actually did this years ago. I didn't call it an energy blocker list though, but now I've realized that it was one. So I was ahead of my time with that one, I have to say. Because basically a long time ago, I just felt like I couldn't take control of my mood. I felt like some days I was happy, some days I was sad, and I was sick of it. And I was like, I want to try my best to feel happy at least 90% of the time. How do I do that? So I simply started going throughout my days and observing what made me feel happy and what made me go to bed sad that night. And in this list of mine, all of my energy blockers was stuff like drinking too much, partying too late, going to bed too late, not getting enough sleep, not eating right was definitely one, having negative conversations or ranting or venting too much with other people. And then with that entire list, there was so much more stuff on it. There was another list about things that added energy into my life. So things like moving my body every single day, spending time outside, especially underneath the sun, taking care of my health, investing in my hobbies. So editing videos, posting things online that fulfilled me. It made me feel more confident, like I was actually in the driver's seat of my life, getting myself towards my goals list. Stuff like journaling to actually process my emotions rather than letting them sit inside of me, doing personal development activities, making time for reading every single day. And it might sound really simple to you, but the way my life has transformed since I wrote that maybe 3 years ago, I still reference it now because it's so normal to get into slump states or weeks where you're just not as productive. And all I have to do is go into my notes app, read that list instantly. There are no excuses to be made anymore. I immediately have a checklist of all of the things I need to stop putting back into my life, which I probably forgot and put off for a little bit. And then all of the things that will hold me accountable on what I need to cut back out again. E.g., I ate too much sugar or I watched too much TV, etc. And so when it comes to energy, any single time you are in an environment where you leave that social situation feeling a little bit drained or upset, start making a note of it. What was it about it? Was it the type of people? Was it the fact that maybe it was a party? Was it the environment, the time of day, how it affected the rest of your day? And over time, you're going to start to notice the type of people and the type of activities and situations that affects your energy. And this is going to be so different and so personal to everyone. So don't worry if yours feels like unrealistic or a little bit weird. Good. It absolutely should. It needs to be catered to your personal needs so then you can take care of your personal energy and serve yourself and your happiness in the best way possible. And this links into homework task number 2, which is to have a daily energy restorer activity. Once again, it's going to be super personal for everyone. We can link this back into the sanctuary step where you're going to go to your safe, happy, peaceful place and do something like meditation to really restore your energy, get your mind right, become calm, focus on your breath work for a little bit if that's what works for you. If that doesn't align to you, maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's going on a bike ride by yourself to be out in nature and get some fresh air, which makes you feel calm and just disconnect from all of the noise and stress and negative energy of life. Oh my God, maybe it's journaling because then you get to process your emotions or any negative events that did affect you that week, but now you're getting them out onto the paper. Having this daily practice is such an amazing way of just taking back control of your energy and just showing up for yourself is such a self-loving activity. And it doesn't need to take up too much time or thought either, especially if you come up with one thing that you're going to do every single day and then you never have to think about it again. Maybe it's the fact that you're not going to go on your phone or social media for the first hour after you wake up, just to have a slow morning routine and put that time and attention into yourself. Maybe it's the fact that you're going to go on a walk every single day with like no music to just make sure that for whatever reason, if you were susceptible to negative energies that day or you do feel drained, you have something that's going to immediately let you take control and bounce back to where you should be. And the final homework task for this episode is actually a challenge for you guys this week. And the challenge is to say no to something or someone this week. Please, if somebody's asking you a favor that you don't want to do, if someone's asking you to go somewhere that you don't want to go, just say no. That's all it takes. That is simply you showing up for yourself and finally taking control of where your energies are going and where your attention and effort and time is going so that you can finally cut out all of the things that don't align to you or serve you or fill up your cup and your positive energy. And with this challenge, a no is good enough, okay? No over explaining, no, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I'll reschedule or I'll do this. No over explaining, no being super apologetic. You're allowed to say no to people. You're allowed to not want to do certain things. Honor that. Please, because, and I say this is the challenge for this episode, because the sooner that you get into a super simple habit of just saying no and honoring your feelings, the easier everything else when it comes to protecting your energy is going to fall into place. E.g., following your gut instinct when there are subtle energy changes in a room that are not serving you. Or B, going to your sanctuary to restore your energetic balance when you've been around chaos all day rather than forcing yourself to stay in that situation because you need to tough it out, etc. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Oh my God, this was season 3, episode 9 of Self-Obsessed. Guys, we only have one episode left now. Episode 10 of Self-Obsessed. Can you believe it? Well, honestly, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or listening all the way up until here, I'll actually let you guys know right now, since you guys are still listening, what the last episode of the season is going to be, will be the 10 laws of self-obsession, because that is the finale episode in every season. Of course, the content and the advice is always different. Just to wrap up everything we've learned in this season, season, but also give you guys some bonus advice and exclusive lessons. So be sure to stick around for that because it will be out next week on Wednesday on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. I just can't believe we are coming to the end of yet another season. But honestly, the work is not over for me yet, guys, because as we speak, I've actually been planning season 4 of Self Obsessed, and we have a bunch of super exciting guests lined up for you guys. This season was a solo season. I really wanted to do that, but guys, stay tuned for season 4. And I will be announcing the release date of season 4 on the Self Obsessed podcast Instagram. So be sure to follow over there because that's where all of the updates will go live, along with my personal Instagram at tamkaur. But I just want to say thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you guys so much. And as always, I'm wishing you the best of luck on your journey. So remember to stay self-obsessed.